Jeff Gerstmann.
Hello.
Halo 4 is out this week.
It is out right now.
What do you think about that?
I think it's great that it's out.
Yeah? You think the timing is good?
Yeah, I think
You're a big fan of like logistics.
November's a good time for games.
What do you think about Tuesday?
They put a lot of copies into boxes and put them into stores. I think it's great stuff. They figured out a lot of different like partners to partner with for various retail promotions. Awesome marketing based iPhone releases to coincide with it. Like,
did you download that?
I did, and then I deleted it because I didn't want to drive to a convenience store to reload.
What?
Yeah,
how does something like that happen?
Wait, do you get anything from playing it?
You would eventually get like double XP the same way you could get off of bags of chips and stuff like that.
I get off a bag.
They are really pushing saturation with the marketing on that game.
Yeah, it got real.
I think it's a great game, but just you can't turn around without seeing Halo 4 somewhere.
I don't watch a lot of TV, so I have not felt that.
I mean, I've only seen one or two commercials, but it's just like they're tied in with like the NFL and like all this that iOS thing and the snacks and stuff.
Can you get that game everywhere for free if you just wear like NASCAR style armor in the multiplayer, which is logos all over you?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, is Joey Logano going to have Master Chief on the hood of his stock car?
Right.
I'll just wear a big billboard advertisement with all the multiplayer I play.
I wonder if they look at like the declining sales of just games in general and worry that unless they saturate the market,
let's get as much money from as many different co-marketing deals as we can and all the stores.
Yeah, it's like trying to avoid the idea that Black Ops 2 is the only big selling game this holiday. It's a legitimate concern.
Some news, I think it was like a mainstream news outlet, was saying that Microsoft expected it to be the biggest entertainment launch of the year.
Of course they do. Every time they put a Halo game out, they put out a press release talking about how it's the biggest entertainment launch.
Back in the Halo 2 days, that was true. Yeah. That actually happened. But what happens if you say that you're expecting that to happen and then it doesn't? Do you just kind of quietly ignore it?
Because no one ever... Because the phrase biggest entertainment launch is so ambiguous.
They can spin that number.
There's always a way that they'll be able to say...
What I'm saying is, what if Black Ops 2 outsells it?
Well, that happens a week later. So their press release hits before that.
So then why would you even say that if it's not going to... If it's like by necessity not going to happen?
That's how this is how the products are sold, Brad. This is how they do this.
Yeah. I don't know where you're
haven't
coming from.
Haven't you been watching the politics stuff too? It's the exact same way all that stuff works.
Exactly.
How could they say that?
They're shipping manufacture of Mjolnir armor to China. Haven't you been reading the fucking news?
Because I still want to believe there is accountability somewhere in our fucked up society.
We are the accountability on that. And
I mean, those entertainment numbers are so hard to parse. And that's
why
I think like Halo 2, like at launch, sold more than Halo 3 did at launch, but they made it seem like Halo 3. I might be wrong on that.
I think you're right. Actually.
But I think I'm right about that. But the press release, and this is where the entertainment stuff started, was because the number seemed larger as spinning it out and how many millions you generated. And it's the same way that like Sony does
selling the really expensive helmets to go with that.
Yeah.
So their cost per,
in this
same way like the PlayStation Family, which is how Sony gets around curbing out.
Right. In this case, I wanted to know why they would say that when there is such a direct, unfavorable apples to apples comparison a week later.
Because they're talking about because that's why they're talking about it in terms of entertainment and not the biggest game launch of the year. Because I mean that's. Right. And also that game is going to be available on multiple platforms, so it's not a 1-to-1 comparison.
Yeah, fair.
But they'll be able to look at the Halo numbers
and the waypoint numbers and all the people tuning in.
But they'll be able to look at a $60 game with a $90 or $100
I think it's $100
limited edition plus a console. Bundle all those numbers together and say we had a bigger opening week than any movie that came out this year.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah, and that's all that matters. Sure. And that's the math. I mean, it's a dumb comparison because the math is surely going to work out that way because movies aren't fucking $60.
And also, games are front-loaded. Yeah. Movies have additional ways of generating revenue long after they're out of the theaters.
Yeah.
So it's a stupid number.
Yeah, like people salivate for the game release. They line up. They go at midnight. Like it's a big deal for people that like that stuff. So
would you characterize their demand as frothing?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, but this cold Mountain Dew is frothing.
That probably shouldn't be frothing.
That's 1982.
Did you set it on the
Mountain Dew is frothing?
Did you set it on that weird like Guinness Charger thing?
No, I just
pissed in it.
Oh,
let's put it on the washing machine.
Ate too many Doritos, and now something else is frothing.
Well, that's again. You should probably just get that looked at. Halo 4, the video game.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about the fucking marketing efforts of
Right.
Halo 4.
I'm waiting for that to come to DVD.
The marketing efforts of Halo 4.
Yeah.
You're excited about the making of,
The marketing effort.
the sales of.
You went their internal pitch videos.
Actually, yes. Totally
Yeah.
would. If that were a pack-in, I would get the collector's edition.
You're going to get the Forward Unto Dawn Special Edition Blu-ray?
Please, sign me up. How many editions are there this year for Halo?
2.
So it's just, and the price difference is $100 versus 60.
Yeah.
What do you get in the $100?
You get a map pack, or you get the season pass for the map packs. You get a couple of redeemable bonus things that let the world know that you bought the expensive one.
in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like weapon skins and
Is
stuff.
Spartan Ops the season 1 free?
Yes.
Yep, the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's no code or anything.
Yeah, there's no code, no nothing. And then there's like a book in there that's not as good as the
Journal.
other.
Journal was pretty good.
And you get a little bit more like actually gameplay relevant stuff to unlock in multiplayer.
Okay. Is there any single player stuff?
They closed the gap. No, nothing.
Okay.
You will miss nothing.
So just the book
the
maybe
campaign.
for fiction stuff if I want.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a sealed thing in the limited edition that's like you have to tear open to read some kind of secret mission orders. And as soon as I opened it and looked at it, it was so disappointing that I was like, man, I wish I hadn't opened that because it'd be kind of neat to have this sealed thing.
Don't forget to drink your Doritos.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I've bought every special edition of the Halo stuff.
You have the helmet?
That journal one was pretty good.
Yeah, it was neat.
No, I never got the helmet because there were always other ones. It wasn't there was the
mid-tier one
there
for the helmet that was
like
like it's everything except for
the helmet.
you don't need the stupid helmet. I have two. I ended up with 2 of those helmets somehow. I don't.
But they just
Did
multiply.
ODST have anything crazy?
No,
I don't remember that one having.
No, I don't think so.
But this year I just bought the vanilla $60 one.
Yeah,
Like
that's all you need. It's
Doesn't
2
come in.
discs. Multiplayer installs off of disc 2, or you can download it from Xbox Live.
do you have to put you don't have to put a disc in then? You just have to have the first
you have
disc
to,
in?
you have to launch disc 1 every time.
Not to
Right,
do,
but like the multiplayer stuff, you don't have to swap to disc
right.
2.
You never have to swap.
Cool.
Not to derail too much, but I wonder what the production factors were that made it better to put out 2 discs than to just have everybody download it.
Some
You
people
think it's cheaper to make second disc and get those 2-tiered cases than it is to pay for the bandwidth?
Yeah, and also there are probably people that are only going to play over System Link and stuff like that because it does support just split screen.
Yeah, that's true.
Like there are too many cases where people won't be playing multiplayer on Xbox Live, but will want to experience that multiplayer content. That it would be a real dick move to force it as a download.
Yeah, I guess so.
think of all those
Yeah.
scratch discs when those
You're right.
things come
Spartan
out.
Ops,
Right, yeah.
Spartan Ops especially is something you might only play locally.
And also, if you could not day one play multiplayer Halo because the servers are choked up with everyone trying to download Halo multiplayer.
Though as a result of this, you do have to have storage in your Xbox. You have to be able to handle like 2 gigs. So you at least need if you have an older Xbox that doesn't have the 4 gigs internal.
So you have to install it?
You can't put in disc 2 and just play multiplayer?
You cannot.
Oh, wow.
No, when you put in disc 1, it says, do you want to install multiplayer from disc 2 or do you want to download it from Xbox Live?
Oh, wow. So after you do
As soon as you hit multiplayer for the first time.
so after you do that install, you were never putting disc 2 in your system again.
Exactly.
Okay.
Can you download in the background and just regular like Xbox Live download?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I guess.
It's not like it sits there with a
No,
progress bar.
I don't think so.
All right, good.
And then at some point, it's Halo. You shoot dudes.
If I hit no on either of those, does it just spit out $30? You're like, here you go.
No.
Well,
No.
so how's Halo 4?
It's good.
All right.
Yeah, it's a lot like Halo. I mean,
Review's been up for a bit, right?
Yeah, reviews out there. It's for better or for worse, they stuck pretty close to kind of the Halo blueprint. I think that they squandered some really big opportunities they had to take things in a different direction.
Because you feel like this is going to be the tone for the trilogy. They're not going to mix it up so much on the next one.
Well, I think they've got some opportunities. By the end of Halo 4, they have maybe squandered a lot of what made the going into Halo 4 unique. But there's a couple of ways out that don't just
they've created a couple of new wrinkles.
Yeah,
that could be kind of cool.
But you spend most of this game fighting the Covenant with the same weapons you've been using all along against the same enemies that you've been fighting all along. Like they've got a handful of new enemies, but there aren't a ton of them. And those enemies drop a new tier of weapons, but a lot of those weapons plug right into the existing archetypes. So it's like here's another alien shotgun. You already have the human shotgun. You've already got this stuff. Like it's not.
Right.
The use case is pretty much identical. It's just you killed one of those guys, so they're going to drop one of these types of weapons.
Does it look like a human gun or does it look like a Tron gun?
It looks a little bit like a Tron gun. Well, the first time you pick up any one of the new Promethean weapons, there's this longer animation of it forming together, which is really kind of neat
cool.
looking.
Yeah,
and then every subsequent time, it just forms right together. It's like, come on, we know. Which is good, because that would be too long.
I watched you guys play the Quick Look, which is up now. And, that was definitely some recognizable Halo stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean,
it's a great looking game. I think, from
beautiful.
a technical perspective,
Yeah, a lot of
they've
good lighting.
really nailed it. Artistically, it's really nice looking.
And different. Like, it wasn't blue. It wasn't indoor blue, Halo rings.
Yeah,
stuff.
even the Forerunner stuff that you do fight through looks pretty significant.
Even when
the
you
part
go
you-
inside, it's
the part you guys
absolutely-
were showing looked arid and like, I don't know, different.
Yeah. But like thematically, like you're still doing a lot of the same stuff. Like it has the, it has the tank mission. Like it has the part where you're going to get on a tank and drive the tank for a while and blow it all and blow up a bunch of stuff and go, yeah. It's got the part where, oh god, everything's falling apart. You got to drive real fast to get away. Oh no. It's got a lot of very Halo things in it.
Well,
all the Covenant enemies are exactly the same.
The part I saw-
jackals, you shoot jackals in their right hands and shoot them in the head.
Yeah.
You dodge out of the way of hunters and then shoot them in the back until they die.
Yeah.
Like that stuff is, it's still a lot of fun. It's still the Halo combat, even in this game, is still among the best in the business. But it's just not that different other than those new enemies.
The part I saw that was like, right. I kind of dampened some of my spirits for going into Halo. I mean, I was never super duper like fucking Halo, but it was the part where you're like, I'm going to play this part until I kind of figure out the best way to approach these 20 enemies.
Yeah.
We're like, if I go this way, I can get two of them up, and then the grenade just went off and I blew up. Respawn. Okay, I'll try
run
this
around this way. Do this.
Try this
kind
gun.
of poke at it.
I'll try with the Needler this time. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of like, I wouldn't say trial and error. I mean, there's some of the challenge in it, and like you guys always say, it's a combat puzzle. Where
Or
just
the
kind of
sandbox.
but definitely that part of.
Yeah, it does that, and it does it really well. And
you just ragdoll.
There really aren't any other games out there any other shooters that do it this way.
Right.
So that's cool.
But a lot of it just comes down to how much you want to do more of that.
Totally. Yeah. And so it's for me, like the big disconnect for me was like when you think about the end of Halo 3, when you think about like, all right, they're going to put Master Chief to sleep. Yeah. He is around this planet. We don't know what the fuck this planet is. Could be anything, but it's, he's far away. They can't contact. He's alone. Him and Cortana out there in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Right. And I thought that was just listen, we might come back to Master Chief. We might not.
Exactly.
Let's see
and
what
then
happens.
they went through a couple of games where they didn't. There was no Master Chief for a while.
Bungie set themselves up with that to distance themselves from that as a studio.
Exactly. Yeah. And
they basically narratively painted themselves into a corner where it was like they wanted Microsoft to blink.
Yeah. And
they did.
I think it's smart.
And they let them go independent.
Yeah. I think it's smart, and I think that it made it so if you wanted to return to Master Chief, you needed a damn good reason to do it.
And
like it's easier to market.
Well, Well, ultimately, that's what it comes away feeling like, because
I think 343 is like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah,
if they suddenly they made a non-Halo game, you're gonna get probably way more critique and hate from Halo fans than if you make another solid Halo game, which seems like what they've done. When you
take it in the context of the reins of this got passed to someone else, and they were able to kind of keep it going the way it's been going, like that's great. That from that angle, perfect. But if you don't have any of that context, it's just like they're just kind of treading water. Like you look at it and just go like, it's a much nicer looking game, and they've tried some different things with the modes and they've changed up the multiplayer, but it's like they made another Halo game.
So you're saying what they took from the end of Halo 3, where they kind of opened up the world or closed the book.
By the first third of Halo 4, you're right back. Covenant, you're right back. Why are there all these humans here? It's like, they explain why there are humans here, but there's a reason why there's a fucking human tank here and a bunch of warthogs and all this other stuff, and you do all the things you expect to do in a Halo game, and I guess that's totally fine, and given the situation, it's probably the right move. But because if they change too much, then people blame them for it, and they have to dig themselves out of that hole.
Right.
And in addition, there are millions of people that probably just want more of the same Halo, I guess.
You would hope that because they've now proven to, or at least are about to prove to, a very dedicated, critical fan base, that they can make one of these types of games. I'm not saying they get a pass on Halo 4, but I think you can sort of, especially if you have the broader context of how this was made, why it was made, you can see why it comes out like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they get to do that a second time.
Yeah.
They have to make Halo their own
absolutely
the next time around.
The hope is that 5 is the one where they blow the doors off, because, like you said, they've proven themselves. And now
put their own mark on it.
Yeah, totally.
It's a different crew of people. Hopefully they've got some different ideas about where this stuff needs to go, and they'll get to really start doing that. But, you could just as easily see them falling into the trap of like, well, it's a new console. We didn't want to take too many risks.
We want to see what Halo looks like on the next gen machine.
That's the perfect time. That is the perfect time.
I'm with Brad.
I think so too. But, like from the business side, I could just easily like, it's going to be hard to do this, pull all this stuff off on this new machine. You better just stick to what you know.
Especially if they're under any kind of time crunch to get a game out to help sell that system.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Probably not.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was
how long it took them to get to Halo 4.
They were building a studio at that point.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked some bridging game that was very different than your typical Halo stuff with Master Chief that ended with them, whatever your protagonist is in that game, finding Master Chief and waking him up. And like, okay, now we're in Halo 4. Like, we did
cool.
We did all this weird stuff, and it was like, whatever. Like, we can do the backstory on that if this is successful, but this ends with opening the can and Master Chief falls out, and you're like, yeah, Master Chief is back. Here we go.
Yeah.
More Halo. But I think, just it feels a little licking your fingers and touching two contacts to be like, more Halo, more Master Chief.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't been gone that long. Yeah. And I kind of liked ODST, and I like Reach.
No, ODST is great.
Both of those games had such interesting takes on that world,
Yeah.
Like ODST, everything from like the kind of the ambient feeling of being in this ruined, devastated city to like the smoky jazz, like that was a really weird, unique game in that series.
Mechanical changes, like not having the shield.
Right. Or in like the flashbacks, like the narrative structure of playing every mission in flashback.
And they have some like interesting.
And actually, they did exactly what Vinny wanted, which is like the ODST was kind of a throwaway.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like a core
let's
game.
Try this out.
And so they tried it out, and they didn't do a whole lot with it because Bungie left.
Right.
To go to, they already had Reach going. But yeah, that was exactly what Vinny was talking about, with would have been neat with a little more experimentation.
But like, I think the Halo fiction is such that I do think, and I don't know, like Halo historian, so I'll get some of this wrong, but with the stuff I have picked up through the years with Halo, with the Spartan Project and all these other military units, I feel like there is interesting stuff there to explore that's not Master Chief. Like other Spartans, even the ODST guys, I thought early on, I thought they were pretty cool, and it was cool to play as one of them. But like, there's weird stuff, and I think there's meaningful stuff in there. Like, there's some weird, dark stuff in that universe that could be explored.
So they start to at least address that stuff in Halo 4, and I think a large part of the arc. I mean, they've kind of said that they wanted to make it a little more personal about Master Chief, about
John,
the man behind the mask.
They do that pretty successfully, I think.
They start moving in that direction. Down that path successfully, I think.
If you think of it as a trilogy.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is how they announced it, so you have to assume that character development is arced.
Right. So, they set the table for some of that stuff, and that'll be some of the things that I think that if they start to make good on that in 5, then that could be a lot more interesting there.
I mean, if you really want to get nerdy and dig back into like the old Halo fiction, like prior to the Covenant showing up, the whole Spartan Project was conceived to deal with human-on-human violence.
Right. I read that journal.
Yeah, that's all what Fall of Reach is all about. It was all man fighting man,
right?
And they wanted the upper hand against the insurrectionists or whatever. Like there could have been a lot of ground to cover, like interesting territory to cover with that stuff. Now that the Covenant had been dealt with, but instead it's even more ancient Forerunner stuff and more of the same guys.
Yeah,
which,
and they take it in some fine. They also take it in some directions that I think tie into some of the problems with Assassin's Creed and some of the problems with a lot of other games where it's just like that kind of you are the one, right man, right place, right time sort of thing.
Reach at least
like
got
with like the notion of destiny,
sort of the chosen one mythology.
Yeah, like
or fate rather. Like there's no avoiding this. Like John, you have to be in these places at these times.
Yeah. You didn't earn this. This is just how it works out.
Right. So like over the last several games where you've been kicking ass and finding these guys like, nah, don't worry. That's it's all supposed to have happened.
So you guys might know this better than I do. Is he the last of his Spartan type?
I want to say there's like 3 more still out there.
Like that we just never contacted?
I don't know what the deal is.
I should look it up. I'm sure there's plenty of information out there.
I mean, certainly that's not communicated in the games, at least.
Not in the slightest. And in fact, there's a lot of stuff in this game that feels completely without context to the point that it's kind of annoyingly baffling until you get online and read about, like, spoiler threads of people who read all the recent books and stuff, and it's perfectly contextualized.
Yeah, because people were saying, like, I was getting questions like on forums and stuff. It's like, hey, if you want to know who the villain is in Halo 4, like, just go read these Wikipedia entries about recent things that have occurred in the novels, because it spells out what's happening in 4.
It's actually it's frustrating. Like it's when you first encounter the antagonist, everyone seems to know who he is, except for you.
Yeah.
And
like you as a player, or you as Master Chief?
You as a player. Master Chief is like, oh, they call him by name.
Yeah,
and it's like,
but he never introduces who.
Oh, really? So it's like Master Chief has internalized information, but that's never been presented to the player.
Right? Yeah,
is that in any of the videos ridiculous. Or something you find, or any of the?
And some of the well hidden terminal videos deal with that character and some of the other stuff surrounding his history. Some of the stuff that it sounds like has been addressed in some of the books.
But also hiding those in terminals is a bad.
That's a
bad way.
It's a horrible way to do it.
And like Resistance made that problem in every one of its games and hit a lot of that background storytelling in hidden objects, and that's not what you should be doing.
I think generally they do a fine job of not doing that.
Okay.
But in that one specific case, it was just like this real disconnect of like, wait, what the fuck? Who is this guy? What's going on?
There's like 3 or 4 major things in that game that just bear explanation that just doesn't ever comes.
Like there is a missing game.
Well, it's all in books or comic books or wherever that information lies. But it's it's stuff as simple as, why am I still fighting the Covenant? Which can be easily explained in like 2 sentences if you know where to look. But they don't communicate that in the game.
And I guess like that's as we've talked about.
At least they don't force that communication on you in the game.
Maybe that's in a terminal video or something.
Yeah, there's like stuff that you'll
There's
no
big
up.
Text crawl in the beginning. That's like
no.
But like, we were talking about all the marketing stuff and how it feels slightly overwhelming, and a lot of the marketing stuff has been like these offshoots of fiction, like the Forward Unto Dawn and other things they're doing. Like, as someone that just wants to play these games and get my enjoyment out of them, like just playing the games themselves, I feel like certainly with 4 they're starting to move away from that.
The game needs to stand on its own.
Like you need to, and it seems like to get the full enjoyment of the fiction in 4 requires you to really go to some outside resources and at least put it in. Like does the game have an encyclopedia or anything?
No.
See, I think that would be one way for them to backdoor that information is like, like as you play the game, as like say that villain was introduced,
right?
Like, okay, now go into the Halopedia,
like, catch me up here,
and then it's got like the stuff that hooks into the books that like tells you how all the stuff is. I think that would be a way of getting around not having to explain all that stuff so heavy-handed in the game, but also still have that readily available. And even those I should have to go to Wikipedia.
Right. Even those terminal videos that you find are not in the game. Like, it actually just, when you find them, it just says video unlocked on Halo Waypoint. And you have to go out of the game and go to the website or go... I assume that they will eventually launch an updated Waypoint app for Xbox. You could probably do it there. But the videos are not part of the game. So you have to go dig those up yourself separately. So there are too many barriers to finding out some of this information. Like, the Halo universe is interesting. I've always been interested in it as a video game universe, and I'm not willing to go too far out of my way and go start reading these books and do this other stuff. Like, I'm not interested in that level of stuff, but just make sure you explain what's in the game to me as it's happening. And not doing that in that one case is pretty disappointing.
You know who did that pretty well? Resident Evil 5.
Yeah.
You remember that whole, like, you can go read the backstory of like every Resident Evil game in their little umbrella
you're right.
thing. It was ridiculous.
That and Mass Effect, the Codex and Mass Effect.
Well, Mass Effect, that was their stock and trade with that Codex.
Sure,
But that Resident Evil 5 thing was just silly.
Kind of.
It's like summary of every game in this like encyclopedia, and that stuff is just so dumb.
Very convoluted series,
but at least it's there.
Yeah,
right.
Like if you want to engage with that,
you're right. Like, just give the player a base level of background information that makes everything in the story you're telling make sense, even if they don't know anything about the larger events.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure for the super fan or whatever that is deep into that stuff, we're to the point where all they play is Halo. Obviously. I play a lot of different video games. I don't have time to like totally internalize any game's fiction, with the exception of the original Need for Speed Most Wanted.
And I do feel like Halo 4, from what I saw just when you guys were doing the quick look, in the fiction, a lot of the stuff like the Spartan Ops and the multiplayer is happening like on the ship with the, in these different parts of the ship, right? Like they're highlighting even in the menu, like this is where the forge is and this is where this stuff is. Just go to like the database part of the ship that's like the ship library and be like, pull up these files on like these characters.
Big old codex or info dump.
These database sheets that are like, this is in the ship. Go learn about it, recruit.
That stuff might just be in Waypoint at this point, though. I don't really know. I mean,
I guess that's a good point.
That stuff could exist there.
If they're going to continue taking strides toward humanizing Master Chief the way it looks like they're going to in this game, reading Fall of Reach would not be a terrible idea. I mean, it's easy to deride video game books, but that one
is it!
But
I've read my share.
That one is not terrible, and it really gives a lot of background information on how he came to be and how the program worked out.
I'll have to pry it off.
Like, I mean, if you're asking, like how many Spartan 2s are there out there, like the book, fills you in on all kinds of stuff like that. Like there were only like 30-something of them to begin with, and almost all of them died on Reach.
There are like 6 books, aren't there? Like 6 or 7.
I have no intention of ever reading another Halo book. I just happen to fall into that one. But if there's one you read for that whole series, it should be that one.
Maybe I'll listen to it.
Yeah. I feel like I was sold a bill of goods here. That's my only, I have no problem with kind of fundamentally, if you're going to make a game called Halo 4, that it should, have the general size and shape and, play like and feel like a Halo game.
And it does. And it does it really well.
That's all totally reasonable. But I feel like that E3 demo, when they focus entirely on new enemies, new weapons, new environments, like I felt like there was a promise there of like, okay, we're going to make a Halo game, but we are going to change a lot of these, or at least...
And the dark secret is in that video. They show, let's say, 90 to 100% of the new enemies in that game.
That's a real bummer, because I saw them like, okay, if this is the tip of the iceberg of like fucking cool new enemies and locations and weapons that I get to use, even if the fundamentals are still going to be exactly the same, like that's enough of a change to kind of get me amped up about playing Halo again. But I don't want to fight Covenant anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care
how much.
I don't care the fictional.
Most of the game, I'd say, you spend fighting Covenant.
Well, because there are only 3 Promethean enemies, so they can't overuse them, or you just get sick of it.
Right.
Yeah. 2 of them are zombie Covenant.
So you're already sick of the Covenant, so we'll just keep using them.
I'm not sick of fighting the Covenant. I still had a great time doing it.
Right.
But
having not played 4, it's not even necessarily a commentary on the gameplay.
Elites, which you have not fought since Halo 2.
Well, no, they were in Reach.
Were they? Oh, yeah, okay. All right. So
That's
Master Chief has not fought since Halo 2.
But that's the thing that kind of even makes me a little more bummed is like I went through a whole story arc with the Covenant. Like we have been through hell together.
And it was supposed to be over. By the end of Halo 3, you're like, oh, that's put to bed.
And it
What's
broke
next?
apart, came back together, we destroyed the infrastructure, and then somebody picking a point on the timeline and being like, no, we're going to pick up here where the Covenant. And I'm like, no, I bled for you, Covenant guys.
Yeah.
Are there brutes?
No.
Is it explained?
Nope.
Oh, really?
Nope.
No.
Do I have to read the book?
Which led me to draw
I
all
was say,
kinds of...
it's probably explained.
It is, but it led me to draw all kinds of conclusions about A, why you're fighting the Covenant at all, and B, why there are elites and no brutes. Yeah. And then my conclusions were not accurate with the fiction that's been established in the books.
But you can find that information out again?
It's out there, yeah. But it is more convoluted than I would have expected.
Yeah.
And they just don't communicate it.
They're all Templars.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this stuff only matters because the Halo fiction is so kind of broad and diverse and interesting,
They did it to themselves.
I guess. I mean, it's only because it is so likable that you feel kind of let down when they don't give you the whole picture.
Yeah. But, it's at some point we're just kind of picking apart the periphery of the game. Like the core of it is solid. It's
fantastic.
It plays nice. It looks great. The multiplayer is very well informed by what Call of Duty has done to the genre. Like they finally went down that dark path and just went from like the armor customization stuff in Reach to just full on creating your own custom loadouts and perks and experience points in the center of the screen and kill cams, and like they're making that game.
Oh, Bungie explicitly had said we do not agree with that philosophy of progression. So that's why it wasn't in any of those games.
Right.
Like they were very explicit about rejecting that. And also just not wanting to conform to
someone else's design. It is a little weird when you think about Halo and how popular and big Halo is to see them just like very directly grabbing.
Well, because it was Halo was the multiplayer shooter, then Call of Duty replaced it,
right?
And then rather than Halo 4 than Halo 4 like redefining it, it's more just let's just take what we've got and then take what they've got, and maybe 5, maybe this is all symptomatic of a hardware cycle being the best time to shift everyone over.
Maybe I don't know.
I don't want to like give them too much rope on this.
Sure.
And also you can only bite off so much when you're rebuilding a game and all that. But
like regardless, I think that stuff works pretty well. I mean, whatever, it works in Call of Duty for a fucking reason. Right. Like it's for as much as Call of Duty every year just says like we're rebuild multi. I was like, no, not really.
It's the same feedback.
You've come up with a slightly different way for me to get the red dot sight. Like let's break it down for reals.
Did they have kill streak perks in Halo 4?
No, but what they do have is the concept of personal ordnance that you can call in. It is something that works across lives, so you don't have to get kills in a streak. But there's a meter in some of the game types, like the main just team deathmatch game type, where when you fill it up, a little thing comes on screen and you can call down a power-up or a weapon or something like that. It'll give you 3 random objects to choose from.
And they're usually pretty good.
Yeah, it'll be like, it'll be weapons that you can't necessarily start with when you spawn, so it'll be like a needler, kind of at the low end. But it also could be the fucking gravity hammer, or it could be an overshield, or a speed boost, or a damage power-up, or the saw, which is this light machine gun that just tears people up. So like there's that. That is that concept done differently.
Once those are on the map, can anybody pick them up?
Yeah.
Okay.
And while you're picking one up, someone can run up and kill you and take it. And it's a real heartbreaker when that happens, but it does happen.
And then the Spartan Ops stuff is co-op.
Yeah, it's their co-op mode. I mean, you can still play co-op campaign
up to 4.
Yeah. And then Spartan Ops is supposed to. It's just this episodic thing where what they have right now for the first episode of it is there's a cutscene, and then there are 5 missions. The cutscene doesn't necessarily tie into the 5 missions very well, and then all 5 missions are just kind of like really combat-heavy things that, it's like the environments are kind of plucked from the campaign or other parts of the game and thrown in. So it's just like, here's this thing that doesn't really scale, so if you play it alone, it's a lot harder, and you basically just have to kill everyone and get to the end.
And that's 4 players again?
Yeah.
Total?
Yeah.
So is that stuff is not simulation. That is supposed to be happening while Master Chief is off doing.
Yeah, I'm not really 100% clear on where in the timeline that stuff falls, but yes.
Did it feel like anything was referenced either way? Like, while you're in the main game, like, don't worry, other dudes are taking care of this generator. They'll have it down.
No, not really. No.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a cool hook for me.
In fact, the whole thing is set after the campaign.
Is it set after?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 6 months. It says in the intro, it's like 6 months after the end of...
See, but they don't call it that. They call it 6 months after Zulu date. Or, they have some...
Well, I know what you're talking about.
Whatever, something event.
Yeah.
And you're just like, is that... I don't know what that is.
You saw that event happen in the ending. You just probably didn't realize it.
Okay, sure. They didn't really give it a name.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right.
I know that because I read about it somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
And then... Yeah. Did you get anything that comes out of that into any other multiplayer stuff?
You get XP.
Okay.
So it's you're leveling up the same way you would from any other multiplayer mode.
Remember, so Reach gave you that same common XP for everything, right? Including campaign. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you could.
You got XP out of playing single player, right?
Co-op, or if you played it with like scoring. Yeah, okay. I think you would get something out of it.
It's kind of a bummer that you can't get any XP out of the campaign here.
Yeah, there's no campaign scoring
in that way. Yeah, like
and all the skulls are unlocked from the start, which is fine, I guess.
There's no scoring,
it's all the same skulls.
That's kind of what the point of the skulls was, right? It was because you got
score modifiers
multipliers by using the different skulls. I don't know why. I don't understand why they take that out.
Yeah, I don't know.
It seems like that groundwork was already laid, right? Like you already have the skull types and what the multipliers are and stuff. I don't know why they would remove that.
It is strange. I wonder if that's something that'll come back.
Yeah, that and Firefight both. I wonder if maybe down the line we'll.
I don't think Firefight. I think those guys are going to continue to work on Spartan Ops.
Well, obviously that is a huge amount of work just to get that stuff out the door. But at some point, you've played the Spartan Ops missions and you can't keep playing them.
No,
whereas Firefight is a much more customizable and kind of endlessly replayable thing.
Yeah, I think if they were going to do that, they would have done it. I don't think they add it to this one. I think it's something they go like, and returning for Halo 5.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Because you demanded it, if you demand it.
Could you make a firefight-like thing in Forge or something?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know that you can do enemy spawn.
But even if you could, it wouldn't hook into the character progression where you're earning XP and stuff.
Well, when you play, I mean, even if you're in a Forge session building a map, you get a little bit of XP out of it. So it's that stuff would happen eventually.
I have a non-Halo 4 related question, but it relates to Halo 4.
Okay.
In a very tangential way. Do you guys remember ODST and those like floating cloud thingies?
The engineers.
Mm-hmm. What happened to them? Is that explained? What was
that? Is in Fall of Reach, I believe.
Okay.
Those guys are referenced and talked about and seen, I think, in that book.
Are they gone? Are they gone from the world? I'll have to.
If I remember correctly, they just aren't relevant at that stage of the war.
Okay. I forgot about that. I was trying to think of all the enemy types that we've seen.
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, there's a little floaty guys.
These guys aren't even really enemies.
I don't even know if you're supposed to kill them or not.
I don't know that they wanted to be there.
Non-combatants.
Yeah. Civies.
Are there ODSTs in 4?
Keep it clean. No. Spartan 4s.
Taking our jobs.
Yeah. I know.
Spartan 4s are just dudes in suits, though.
Oh, really?
If I'm not mistaken.
They don't have the scarring
Spartan 2s are like genetically engineered and filled with cybernetic shit from the age of like 8 or something.
Spartan 1s are genetically engineered, aren't they?
Or
are they just bred?
I don't think there ever really was a Spartan 1.
Like Master Chief, isn't he a Spartan 1?
No, he's a 2.
Oh, he is a 2. Okay. Is there a 3?
Sure.
We don't talk about 3.
No, there was just we had.
I've got a whole 9-game arc about Spartan 3s ready to go.
We had the Spartan 2, and then it was the Spartan 2S, and then they just went straight to Spartan 4s.
Because they didn't want Sony's Spartan to be a higher number.
That's right.
Okay, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Read the Console Wars. It's all in the books.
Yeah. You get the collected graphic.
Read the Fall of Sega.
So yeah, nobody's listening to this because they're just playing Halo right now. So we can talk all we want.
Yeah. Or they're voting. They're out voting.
With their dollars.
For Halo 4.
When you first launch Halo 4, it contains an admonition to go vote.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Their message of the day right now says go vote. Yeah, I think it's well made.
Yeah. It's a great game.
I can see why they wouldn't take.
Gotta know what you're getting into.
They wouldn't take as many risks. Like, for 343 right now, like I could have the argument of like, hey, it's important for them as a new developer to like put their stamp on it and say like, look, this is our vision. This is why we aren't just some random fucking house that could churn out a Halo-like game. But at the same time, stakes are high enough for Halo and for them that it's like, okay, if we could stick to just the core and deliver a really good Halo experience, then that'll be good for now. But I really do hope that this change of developer will mean more to Halo in kind of the coming games.
I mean, you can definitely see how they chose to play to the base and make sure they were happy rather than changing too much stuff up and losing those guys and also risking not catching anybody else in exchange. Which
I get it. Like that's I guess it's a kind of safe thing to do. Not to say that pulling off a really good Halo game is something that is casually or easily done.
Certainly not.
Well, the thing it has going for it is it's the only game of its type. I mean, you look at Call of Duty, and there are plenty of modern military shooters. Right. Nothing else is taking place in the Halo universe.
Yeah. Nothing weapons plays are all or feels like that.
Yeah,
especially with the Black Ops 2 coming out. Like you could not add in terms of AAA shooters.
Right.
You could not ask for for the range you do usually get in that genre, especially most falls.
Yeah.
You have two very different types of AAA shooters.
Yeah, and just even take the settings, the military and sci-fi out of it, just the pace, the movement speed. Even though Master Chief can run now, he can sprint.
So right.
Some things about Halo are so weird. Like you never have something like the Needler in Black Ops or whatever,
Yeah.
Like it's just
pretty weird.
Well, I don't know, man.
Well, I know that game's getting kind of
2025
kind of wild, but you know what I mean though. I mean, there's just some really unique stuff.
And it's a unique narrative, and you're just not gonna. You don't have Halo burnout because a billion other people did the same thing, just a little too similar to what you have.
Sure.
which is great for them. They can make another Halo game without like too many people being like, I just played this last month. I played EA's version of Halo.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is though now that may very well happen.
Yeah, Respawn.
Well, that's more EA's version
for what Bungie's working on. What if
well, that's Activision's.
Yeah,
maybe but maybe they'll be the ones that are like, maybe they'll out Halo and be like, we made all these awesome changes. Check it out.
All those studios are presumably working on a new model that is not an evolution of Call of Duty's XP progression. Like, what game nails that?
That's become the thing I want to see go away the most. For as much as I think it works really well, and it's you see it applied to so many different types of games, from like Blur and just Need for Speed Most Wanted even has some form of a perk system in it with its car loadout stuff. Like
that can't be it.
It better not be. Like otherwise, this whole thing's done. Like someone needs to come up with something that is as revolutionary as Call of Duty 4 was when it was released. Whether it's a shooter or whatever, just something that actually puts a bullet in that system and replaces it with something better. Something that's more than just reskinning that exact same setup like everyone's been doing.
Yeah, it's like
Call of Duty themselves have been doing.
Somehow giving players a sense of progression and accomplishment even when they don't win the match as a result of the larger metagame you're playing with your character progression. Finding a way to do that maybe without numbers. Like, numbers are a really easy way to do that.
Yeah.
Like, is there a way to give... Because it seems like for a lot of people like that, that's a really easy, cheap way to give a sense of reward, which is like, you didn't win, but
this number went up a little bit.
But this number went up, so come back.
Keep playing.
It seems to get away a little bit from, the reason I played Halo multiplayer in the first place was it was just damn good and it was damn fun and it was really competitive. Mm-hmm. Not because I got some numbers for it.
Oh, but the numbers are really important. The numbers are good, though. You get stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It just seems long term. It seems unhealthy.
I guess so.
To design,
and that's probably the problem. But in the moment, the thought of like, okay, I'm unlocking things that are ideally going to change the way I play this game,
right?
And not necessarily in a way that makes it unfair to other players that I've unlocked this stuff, but something to keep you coming back like, I want to see this next bit of gear. I want to equip this thing.
Every 20, 30 minutes, you get your little dopamine release.
Yeah.
Feels good.
It does.
And then you go back in and start grinding for the next one.
Right.
Yeah.
Using the thing you just unlocked.
Yeah.
But then when they fuck it up is when you run into situations where the thing you unlock sucks.
Yes.
So they tried to redo that system by letting you unlock it in whatever order you like, and then all that does is make the ramp to get everything you want 100 hours shorter. So it's like, okay, like take Call of Duty. Left to my own devices, I will never unlock a shotgun, a sniper rifle. I'll unlock a few LMGs, some assault rifles, some submachine guns, and that's about it. And like the attachments are very specific. I'm going to want a red dot sight. I'll probably want some silencers. Never going to want big scope. Never going to want any other weird shit. And as a result, it takes that ramp and shortens it down to about 20% of its total length. Because I don't care about the rest of the stuff they put in that game. But the other problem of now I have to play 40 more hours to get one more thing that I want to use because they've hidden it behind some level unlock. And here I am, like, after every match getting, like, it's playing the sick guitar riff and saying, like, you got another sniper rifle. And I'm like, great, why don't you just give me a fucking lump of shit to look at? It's about as useful. Then that's a problem, too. So I feel like at either end of the spectrum, everyone employing a system like that is inherently fucked. So someone has to come along and blow it all away and come up with something that replaces it. So the persistence is important.
Yeah.
You can't go back. It's like you
I'm saying persistent bullets. You keep your ammo from match to match. From session to session.
Okay.
Or you could just buy in for,
Yeah, if I just give them 99 cents, just buy more ammo.
You just buy more ammo. Otherwise, you just keep the ammo from, you can spend a whole match just hoarding ammo. And then that next match, you have a ton of ammunition.
I just used the knife and then picked up all the ammo that everyone dropped.
Totally.
Even though it's for guns that I don't use, I can then trade that ammo on the ammo marketplace.
Yep.
What if Respawn came out and said our game is free to play?
But you just buy ammo?
Yeah.
But then everyone's just setting up like their ammo hoard servers. So, hey, this is a server you can get on and just pick up ammo the entire time.
But if all the ammo is being dropped off players who paid for that ammo, why would you join that server?
Oh God! Imagine you dropped your ammo when you died.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! You gotta have a cache.
So Dust has some stuff like that where you go buy an item and die, and that's that.
Oh, that sounds like something they would make.
Yeah.
So maybe you pick how much
awesome.
ammo from your horde you bring into a match with you. Like, I'm only bringing 100 rounds because I don't want to bring 1,000 in case I die.
Yeah, add maybe a little more risk reward to
I guess.
the things you earn. I mean, I don't know. That doesn't seem radical enough to shift. Like Call of Duty 4 and Call of Duty 4
too much punishment.
Yeah.
For that's no one wants the punishment end of this.
I'm really not proposing that they do.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it'll probably be something with persistence, but something they can add, they can monetize. That's where it seems like it would go for the future of this stuff.
I mean, that's just like Bungie seems to be, from what little we know about their project, they seem to be approaching it without knowing how mechanically it will play out with like the systems of progression, approaching it through scale. If it actually is a persistent, huge world, that is one way to approach it, which is rather than think, okay, well, how do I reinvent progression? It's like, well, maybe you don't, but maybe you approach the context of that, which is the world and the scale of that world.
Like the things you do in that world have a lasting impact. I mean, that was the thing that made PlanetSide so great.
Right, and still makes it on a paper sound fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Persistent wounds. You get shot.
Like Far Cry's, you got to give yourself a malaria shot.
That doesn't work for the same reason car damage that affects handling doesn't work. No one wants to do that.
Well, you can get out of it. Just 99 cents.
How? Great. All right. I'm in.
Or you can sit out. Or you can sit in a corner. 99 cents, get right back in the game.
Sit there and bleed.
You just sit there and kind of wrap up your wound and wait for it to heal.
But that was the awesome thing about PlanetSide. And also its ultimate curse is because you would get with a crew and you would roll across a continent, taking over every single base, because there weren't a lot of players on the other faction on. So you would just fucking roll across half the game and take it over. And then you'd be like, it's 3 a.m. I have to fucking go to bed. And you would wake up and have to do it all over again. And it was just like, oh, this is just stupid. What the hell am I even doing?
And there's an opportunity to take that feeling you had at 3 a.m. and extend that out.
Yeah.
Extend all of our feelings at 3 a.m.
I wish PlanetSide 2 ran on my machine.
What's up with that game? I feel like that game just sort of came
out on the 20th. It's not out yet.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah. It's not. It's still in beta. So when I hit play, it just sits there. Sometimes it brings up this has crashed. Sometimes the whole thing just shuts. So there's just something with the beta. Or hopefully it's I'm downloading another 4 gigs of update right now, and maybe it'll work. But
I thought that game was out already.
No, it's still. They just announced like another new continent for it. Like it's, they're still doing stuff.
Living the dream.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that game. Yeah. I mean,
there is something to that concept.
Yes,
whether
conceptually amazing.
I do not know if SOE is the company to pull it off. But
yeah, I think taking that concept and making it free to play is real dangerous.
Are you playing that on Windows 8 machine?
Yeah. Okay. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's a Windows 8 issue. Maybe it's just, hey, it's a beta. Definitely, I don't want it to give the impression that I'm shitting on the game for being broken because it is not officially out, and who knows. But
did you get a big fat some sort of update pack when they launched Windows 8 proper?
No.
It was.
No, Windows 8 has been Windows 8 all along. There have been like little updates they've done here and there, but it wasn't like on the 26th they flipped a switch and said like, here's the real Windows 8.
I just wondered if there were fucking day one patches or anything like that. If there had been any sort of functionality.
A lot of it was in the
lead.
lead up to launch. They released a lot of updates to a lot of their Metro apps. So you'd like one day you'd get like, okay, we've updated news and the finance app, and then it'd be like, okay, here's the smart glass update. And then another.
I would expect there would be some incremental updates between when you got it and when the official launch day was. I was just wondering if there was also just
there
wasn't
back
then.
No.
Windows 8.
No.
The 8th Windows.
Yeah. Brad, are you on Windows 8?
Oh.
Are you going to Windows 8?
Not if I don't have to.
So do I not get Windows 8?
It's fine.
When I build this new PC?
Just get it.
Okay.
Yeah. Like it
apparently
boots faster than 7.
Apparently it is a little more efficient.
It's been rock solid stable.
Yeah.
I haven't had,
Okay.
For me, it's just literally there isn't any impetus. There's nothing that I can't do on 7 that I can with 8.
So there's no reason for you to upgrade, but no reason for me to not buy that as my starting OS.
Yeah, might as well just get it.
Ryan, are you doing Windows 8 for your new machine?
Yep. Got it digitally.
How much is it?
$40.
But you're upgrading, right?
But that's but I have an upgrade path for that
pretty
stuff.
much
You can
get the upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
there are ways
about 1 billion loopholes to make tell you that the Windows 8.
Yeah, it's
upgrade
to the point that
pricing
there are
7 was real weird where sometimes it would just work. You didn't even have to do any of the weird like registry changes or whatever to make it activate.
I think this Windows 8 stuff is definitely not registry change. It's like you go to a website, you go to a website and say, "Yes, I bought a new PC," and it goes like, "All right, here, $15," or it's like something completely crazy like that. It's
yeah, I saw that whole thing. You get like a coupon or something or a code you put in.
Well, I'm sure they want to encourage adoption.
If I buy it
totally, yeah.
So I should probably buy that soon just to try and get in on some of that.
If I buy it digitally right now, it's $40. If you buy a physical like disc copy, and this is all for the upgrade edition, then that's like $60 or $70.
But I think like even on the upgrade edition, you can do these the essence of a fresh install, right? You're just paying the upgrade fee, but doing a fresh install.
That was always the thing for me. It's like I bought XP and I bought Vista. It's just you don't want to go through the process of installing.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
It's just it's not like you're trying to cheat them out of whatever. It's just like I don't want to install 3 windows on top of each other.
I want this Windows 8 install to be a proper fresh,
be clean
install.
I installed it over my 7 install. It's been great. Hasn't no issues.
Well, I'm building this new PC, so I figure I might as well start as clean as possible.
I just have this feeling that Windows 8 just isn't going to have legs. Like there's going to be something else in 2 years.
Yeah, Windows 9.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, of course. There's going to be another version of Windows in a couple of years.
Well,
that's how this always works.
I mean, XP was around for a while. 7 was around for a while. I feel like this is like Windows and 2000. Like
it's the every other version Windows curse.
I guess.
Like we're on and
off. But like Windows 2000 or whatever, like it's still built on the 7 core, so it sort of doesn't matter.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like I feel like we'll have something that is completely different.
Maybe.
Like within a year or so.
Yeah, I mean,
Vista was that jump. Just everyone fucking hated Vista.
That's because it was bad.
That's fine.
You had to buy it to play Halo 2.
Yeah.
Fundamentally not that different from Windows 7.
Well, that's how I kind of feel
7 was what fixed Vista.
But it was
7 was the good Vista.
But it was a lot of like minor interface stuff.
7 is practically a like giant service pack for Vista.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same way I feel about the like last 2 OS 10 updates, where it's just kind of like, I can take it or leave these.
Right.
Like,
but it's also only like $20.
Right, and it's the same thing with Windows 8. But like,
I got burned on Leopard because it makes some things worse. So
Lion's fucking me up.
Yeah,
like if 8 had a
Mountain Lion.
That's the new one, right?
What's the current one?
Mountain Lion.
Yeah.
If 8 had like a new DirectX or something like that, then that would be like, okay, I'll install this because this. I
right,
need this.
You'll need it at some point. Yeah,
but like right now, it just seems like it's not worth.
Yeah, a lot of it's superfluous. It's it's this interface that is clearly designed for touch screens, and you don't have a touch screen.
And I'm not in that
It's
ecosystem.
a little
right.
weird. So,
and the risk,
but you don't have to see that stuff very often, so it's not.
It's more the risk reward of like, do I install this on top of 7? Like, is that going to add anything funny, or is everything going to work nicely? Because I don't want to do a full reinstall because I don't want to wipe that drive.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I don't think it's worth it right now.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be updates for 8 that are.
Yeah,
and I'll say, let's go for it. If my computer died, I would totally do it. Like if
there's a free Giant Bomb app in the store you can use to read reviews and news stories.
I have a free Giant Bomb app. It's called Chrome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Weird.
Ain't nothing free.
That's right. It's Google stealing your stuff. So Halo 4 is now available at Windows 8.
Yes.
It is the Windows 8 of Halos. I don't know.
Halo 4 is a Windows 8 exclusive.
Yes.
On PC.
What? No.
They have a PC version.
I was thinking about going and getting Halo 2 PC recently because it's the only Halo I've never finished.
You're okay.
And then I was told not to.
Yeah, the end of Halo 2's.
Well, I know that, but
bummer.
Halo 2 is the worst.
Talking to Jared Ray he was saying that the Halo 2 PC port is shit.
Oh,
it's like worse than the Xbox version. I'd never heard that before.
Whereas like Halo 1, I guess was like
worse. That's
the Gearbox one was pretty well done as far as I can tell.
You can get multiplayer.
Gearbox did Halo 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Microsoft did Halo 2.
No, I know. I'm saying the Gearbox did a good job on Halo 1.
Yeah, I played Halo 1 on the PC.
Yeah.
Did all the Halo stuff come out on PC?
No,
nope.
Not even close.
It was just purely just bait incentive to buy Vista.
Huh.
They've never committed to doing.
There you
anything
go.
else
We've
beyond
put this disappointing Halo game out, and you have to upgrade to Vista, but there are achievements.
Ain't no going back now.
Well, okay. I don't know that I finished the campaign, but I ended up playing some Halo 2 on Vista.
Apparently,
that was in the middle of
totally
Points Fever.
Yes.